of Gambia office, in partnership with the Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs and the Central Bank of the Gambia, Tuesday launched the April 22 Sub-Saharan Africa Regional Economic Outlook, held under the theme "Another Shock and Little Room to Maneuver." This session was attended by the 5 major higher education institutions in the Gambia, government officials, participants from development partners, the private sector, and the press to discuss the impact on how economies in sub-Saharan Africa are faring following the COVID-19 pandemic and the fallout from the war in Ukraine on the region and the Gambia. Here's more details of that in this report by Yahya Jammeh.
The April 2022 report indicates that economic recovery in sub-Saharan Africa surpassed on the upside in the second half of 2021, prompting a significant upward reversal in last year's estimated growth, from 3.7 to 4.5%. This year, however, that progress has been jeopardized by the Russian invasion of Ukraine, which has triggered a global economic shock that is hitting the region at a time when countries' policy space to respond is minimal to non-existence. Most notable surge in oil and food price are straining the external and physical balances of commodity importing countries and have increased food security concern in the region. Abdoulaye Diallo, Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Finance, spoke of the importance of the session, saying it will serve as a policy direction on the challenges the region is facing.
At the IMF country office for giving us the honor to welcome you all to the launch of this important regional economic outlook document. The contents of this report will serve as a guide for policy direction as we continue to face unprecedented challenges as a result of the recent shocks to the Gambian economy and the global economy as well. After being severely hit by the COVID-19 pandemic, the Gambian economy appeared to be emerging from the collapse triggered by the pandemic and was beginning a subdued recovery with signs of improvements, especially in the services and industry sectors. With the global rollout of vaccine, the development partner support for the Gambia's vaccination program, and the resilience of some of our economic sectors, growth was expected to rebound from 4.8% in 2021 to 6.8% in 2022, and moderating to 6.1% in 2023. However, the emergence of the Russia-Ukraine conflict and its effects on the global supply chain and commodity prices has dampened these prospects, causing growth projections to be revised downwards to 4.3%, 4.8%, and 5% in 2021, 2022, and 2023, respectively.
Mamadou Jole Barry, the IMF resident representative in the Gambia, delivered a presentation on how the Ukraine war is felt on the economic outlook in the region and in the Gambia.
Given the fact that Ukraine and Russia trade and financial linkages with sub-Saharan Africa is limited, that the impact of the war would have been limited for our continent. But what we have seen is that this war, like the pandemic, will bring significant impact on sub-Saharan Africa. The reason being is that many countries are in a situation where they don't have enough buffer to respond to the challenges that the war is bringing. So like other countries, there are 3 channels that we saw that will, through which the war will affect sub-Saharan Africa. The first one is through the energy prices, the second is through the food prices, and then the third is through the volatility of financial markets. Now on energy and commodity prices, the war already came at a moment where commodity prices, including energy, was on a upward trend. So the war amplified pre-existing trends that led to a significant increase on energy and commodity prices. We have seen some declines recently, but the level of these prices remain well above what was projected before the war.
He added that the war will hurt the poor most, as food is a large share of the consumption basket of the poor.
There is a sizable term of trade shock for the net oil and the commodity importers, which is translating into worsening balance of payment due to the high cost of energy and food price import. You have pressure on prices that will definitely affect the standard of living for households. And then on the fiscal, we have weakening fiscal balances for countries, especially those that are delaying the adjustment of oil and food prices to translate them onto the retail price. The second element is rising food prices, which is expected to hurt the vulnerable the most. To give you perspective, Sub-Saharan Africa imports around 85% of the wheat it consumes, which represent about 2.5 billion, of which 1/3 come from Ukraine and Russia. So the blockage that we have on the Ukrainian export and the sanctions on Russia that prevents countries from being able to pay or import from Russia will have significant impact on Sub-Saharan Africa. And these high food prices is set to hurt the poor the most, given that food is a larger share of the consumption basket of the poor.
Looking beyond the pandemic and the current geopolitical tensions, job creation and meeting the sustainable development goals will require strong, inclusive, and sustainable growth in the region. To this end, the safe policy action is needed to enhance economic diversification, unleash the private sector's potentials, and address the challenges posed by climate change. For Eyeafrica News, I used to be Kujabi.